Looks like it. Everything's good. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. It's 5:30 p.m. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board, and we are going to start with the pledge. If you'll join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Randy.
Tonight, Trustee Winslow is excused and absent. Trustee Kidda.
Here.
Trustee Leighton.
Here.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Treasurer Rickower.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Kangas, our Attorney Roger Zappa, Finance Director Kim Clark is here, and our Superintendent of Public Works is on Zoom. And committee members here is Rob Sved from the DDA.
Perfect. Thank you. Any public comment before we get started with the meeting? Please come forward and name and address, please.
Good evening, Rob Sved, 1420 Cox Ave, speaking as just a resident today. I know as we're getting close to budget session, just wanted to speak again about street name signs. I know I've talked with the manager and the supervisor, at least. I'm not sure if I addressed the entire board before, but it's been a DDA priority now to redo some of the street name signs so they're more visible, go with the actual 9-inch signs, 6-inch lettering so that we can see them from more than 3 feet away, which would be great. Most of the signs that we have are embossed and are older than I am for sure. So we had talked about it up through leave earlier on, and we're looking to try to get it into a budget for next year, if that's possible. On another personal side, now that we have red garbage cans for everybody, I think it might be time to look at, again, billing residents per can that they have. So we have some people in Trowbridge that have 1 large can and 2 small cans for one household. And those of us that only have 1 can are definitely subsidizing them. All our other utilities, we're billing based on actual usage and not just flat rate for everything. So that might be something to look at as we move into this budget session. And lastly, there's been a lot of trash talk at the board, literal trash talk, because we have the Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority doing things that are interesting. The one thing that I want to congratulate our township on is that in the packet this month, it has Q1 and Q1 of 24 and Q1 of 25 recycling results. And in 24, Marquette Township was #1, ahead of the city by a smidge. And in 25, we were #2, below the city of Marquette by a smidge. So we're doing pretty darn good out here, I think.
Comparing size to size.
Well, not percentages, yes, yeah. So that's something to be proud of, I think. And charging residents based on how much garbage they're putting out or how many cans they have might encourage more people to think about what they're recycling and encourage more recycling. So it'd be really great to see a 2026 where we can beat the city every single quarter. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Anybody else wish to address the board?
Good evening. Rick Frieden, Frieden, 200 Eagles Nest Road. I wanted to let you know that our little neighborhood there is about to lose internet service. Almost everybody on the road gets it through the NMU EAN system. Their repeater tower is out on Granite Island. That is going down potentially as early as the 1st of November. there aren't a lot of options. In fact, there are really none except satellite. And the satellite service is not wonderful. I understand Highline had made some kind of a presentation or something to you guys. And I just wanted to find out if their permitting process is complete and if we have any idea when they might actually get us some service. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. You're ahead of me. Go ahead, John.
In response to that, so far, the township has only received notification from Highline of their entering the township on the south end. Nothing north of US 41 yet. That's not to say they won't get there, I just don't know when. We may want to reach out to our contact there and just find out. I suspect that's probably one of the areas that will be getting fiber at some point. I just don't know what the schedule would be yet. We'll look into that though, and I think you had stopped in yesterday maybe?
Not this morning, actually.
Okay, all right.
Perfect timing. There's a meeting tonight, she told me. So.
Yeah, my eyes are a little glazed over from numbers right now, but we'll see if we can get a hold of them and find out what kind of schedule looks like, and I've got your number, so I'll try to get back to you yet this week.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we need approval of the consent agenda. Tonight, that consists of approval of regular meeting minutes of September 3rd, 2025. We have bills payable in the amount of $173,828.21. We have the Sheriff's Department Activity Report of August 2025. We've got a great, speaking of trash, a great recycling brochure that Recycle 906 put out. So I put that in the packet. It's a little more illuminating than what you might have already seen. It goes into detail on plastic bags and recycling and bubble mailers and stuff, so I stuck that in there. And then the abbreviated board packet for the Solid Waste Authority, I'm going to talk about that in a second. We just had that meeting. And then the financial statements from August of 2025.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And we need to add item 8I. You have at your place the amended L4029. There was a rounding discrepancy on the library millage. It's currently at .888 and then reduced Headley, and it showed up last meeting as .8818, and it should be .8817. So once that's approved, we'll re-sign and send that off to the county.
I'll make a motion, we approve the regular agenda as amended. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, fire department report. We don't have a fire department.
It's in the packet. I don't know if Dan was gonna be here or not, but it's
Yeah.
in the
He
packet.
didn't
Is that
tell
a
me.
conference in Muskegon?
Oh, yeah,
Is that a conference in Muskegon?
conference, yeah.
No problem. Just used to seeing him here. But we do have his report. We do have Lenny though, for the Public Works report.
I am here.
Thank you.
We can start with wastewater. Our sewer camera was ordered last week, and we actually had received it yesterday. So the guys have been busy setting it up and getting it working. I think they played around with it a little bit, and it's going to be a real handy tool in our arsenal, especially when it comes to sewers. It'll be very useful. We got a new grinder station was installed on Vanderboom. They were out there working on that last week or 2 weeks ago, so that's all installed. And they've been doing some routine sewer cleaning and grease removal from our mains and lift stations. And we will be having, especially with our lift stations, we're going to have some grease pumped out of those. It's just part of routine business that we have to do every now and then is get the grease out of there. On the water side, we replaced a hydrant that was hit off of County Road 492 that was across from the old Township Hall. If you've been by there, there's some contractors parking their equipment there, and one of them backed up into the hydrant. And so we kind of determined who did it, and we got a police report made up, and we will be sending them a bill for repairs. So they had to replace the whole hydrant. So when they hit it, it broke the stem and parts going all the way down. The breakaway didn't quite work properly, but sometimes that happens. We've had routine water samples were taken. I know we've everybody from myself to the manager to Clerk Rattari has been getting reminders for this. We did get all the samples taken. They were pretty extensive. We took samples for everything from PFAS to nitrates. The sample reports are not completed yet. The whitewater has been pretty backed up. Everybody's trying to get their samples in, so hopefully we'll get those back here within the next couple weeks. We're going to start, and we actually have begun hydrant flushing at certain areas in the township. We're going to just try to get that done here before the fall really hits and winter hits, and that way we can make sure that they're all winterized. And we've been still busy doing mistake marking. Still a lot of everybody's trying to rush to get their projects in and done here before the end of the season, so we've been getting a lot of mistakes. On the building and ground side, they've been busy with routine cleaning and facility maintenance, so they do a little bit of everything: grass mowing, painting, cleaning, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. One big thing is we did, while they were back there cleaning in the back in the community room by the janitor room, especially with all that rain that we had last week, we noticed a pretty good leak. So we cut into we actually went up in the scuttle part of it, and we cut a hole in it, and we found that there was a lot of damage. There's a lot of water was leaking there. Insulation's all wet, so we pulled some of that out. We had somebody come take a look at it, kind of assess what was going on. Went up on the roof, and where the air handling units are on the roof, actually both air handling units, they weren't sealed very well right from the beginning, and water was infiltrating around that. So there was some pipes that go through there that are kind of supports for those, especially right there. It was just kind of flowing. It probably had been leaking for years, and we just noticed that the leak became bigger. So we're going to be waiting on a quote for that to come up here. It's probably going to be a pretty good project. Not overwhelming, but we're thinking that a lot of the shingles around that area are going to have to be tore off, resheeted, and reshingled. So kind of stay tuned to that. We'll hopefully have that quote here within the next week or two. On the other section here, our NPS culvert project has started. They were down there doing some little bit of work yesterday, and they're down there doing some more work here today. So look for that project to start in full force here within the next day or two. Again, that's going to be where the culvert's going to be replaced on Norwood, Erie, and Huron. The main part of that project is actually to reduce what they call non-point source pollution. It's not really for flooding, but a good byproduct of this it will help control some of the flooding there. We have one more culvert that has to be done. Unfortunately, the cost was very high. We're hoping maybe by next year funds can be found for that. So we were actually pretty lucky. Even the 3 culverts that were getting done, the cost was extreme. But Eagle was able to come up with another $230,000, $240,000 that they were able to find from other projects that gave their money back. So we'll be able to get these 3 crossings completed this year, and hopefully with that 4th crossing by next year. So that's all I have for this month.
Any questions for me? I know you're going to hang around for a little while.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
We have a planning report too. Do you want to read that? We can read it real quick if you want. It's kind of lengthy.
Well, it came on the email I'll send it out to the rest of the board members also later, so it's a written report.
So basically, the tunnel style car wash is approved. That's going to go in the former Jasmine Queen City location. And there's some issues with the right-of-way on Ryan's Alley, so that's going to be taken care of in the next year. There's a special land use of scientific research facility to be located 3725 US Highway 41 West. That's the Best Buy Ride North property for anybody that wants to know what's going in there. Mount Manufacturing is expanding into that site. 2026 CIP request will be discussed at the Planning Commission on the 8th, October 8th. And regarding the property maintenance enforcement discussion at your meeting tonight, staff recognize the need for the ability to follow through on cleanups without compliance. Attorney Zappa has laid out a reasonable solution to that matter. Also, in staff's opinion, we did not request Attorney Zappa's approval of the expenditure needed at 370 Lake Enchantment. We were only seeking clarification on moving forward with the single bid because that company has been responsive and already had experience with the subject. Ultimately, we realized that we need Township Board Manager approval for our procurement policy. Our apologies for any confusion. And Staff Planner Powers is still on paternity leave. So Jason's been busy. But I did want to mention that because he did want to apologize. There was a misunderstanding. Okay, attorney report.
Well, it's been another pretty busy month since I talked to you last. Probably the most burning issue this week is we've got 2 tax tribunal matters that we are in the process of having settlement negotiations between the assessor, myself, and the petitioner's representatives. It's the same representative who represents both of the taxpayers who are, well, it's Visions North and Cedarville Town Homes. One of them is fairly certain to be resolved. The other one remains to be seen. Of course, we've had follow-up with the Renovari issue that's been ongoing. And I just, while I was out of town for a couple days, last week got the updated purchase agreement, and I have not had an opportunity to go through that. There's a lot of paperwork there, along with the operating agreement they sent, but that's ongoing as well. We've got a couple of FOIA inquiries, which thankfully this month were pretty simple ones in comparison to what we occasionally get. We also, you might recall, had a proposal from Verizon or one of their subsidiaries several weeks ago in which they wanted to mount some additional equipment on the Cox water tank. And in our 2008 original lease with that particular vendor, we inserted a clause in the lease that allows us to revisit what rent looks like if the equipment changes on the tower. So we sent out a letter and just heard from them within the last day or so that they are willing to provide a $150 a month rent increase. It was one of those it never hurts to ask principles. So that'll be coming, and that's fairly significant because I'm not sure the number of 5-year terms left, but at least 2 more. Might be 3 more. I would have that information on my desk. It's not even put away yet, but so that will then increase by 10% at the commencement of each new 5-year term as well. So that was a pleasant update. We've got a couple of zoning issues that we're continuing to monitor, and I did issue an opinion or some written correspondence on the ongoing property maintenance issue that we've had, and that will probably be presented at the next board meeting.
October 1st,
And I'm probably overlooking something or another, but that's what comes to mind, at least that's crossed my desk in the last month.
About a half a dozen different agreements that we need his review of before we can proceed on to. They all seem to come at the same time, and it's that time of year where we're looking at renewing or changing services or whatever, so probably not at the best time for him, but I'm not going to bring a recommendation to you until I feel that we're in good shape as far as the legal parts.
Any questions for Roger? Okay, thanks for that. Just a couple things on community linkage for you. County meeting last night. A few notes. The jail report was discussed. They have a 2 or 3 member committee that broke off and researched whether or not they needed a jail or what that would involve, how much it would cost. So as of right now, they're thinking, this is not approved, but they said they're looking at $500,000 for 20 years. It's a 4% bond. There would be twice as many beds as what we have now with a central pod setting and be able to expand. They have 3 sites that they're looking at. They have not announced where they are yet. They are in the city and in the township. They're thinking $39 million would be the total. I think that's all on that. Commissioner DePietro resigned and his letter was accepted last night, so there will be, they have 30 days, they said, to find a replacement. And I can't tell you exactly what his district is, but it's on the north side of the county. So anyone interested, they said they would put out some flyers and some ads. Anybody in that area can apply to the county commission for that seat. That would be a continuation of his, or completion of his term. I'm not sure what that is. And then CCI has 10,000 acres that they're starting to divest themselves of, pardon me. And it includes 300 miles of trail easements that they are going to put into place in perpetuity. So the county commission is thrilled that we'll have 300 miles of current trails that will not be impacted. The easements will be in perpetuity, even as they sell that 10,000 acres off. So I don't know exactly where they are. It could be some in the township, I'm not sure, but they were pretty excited about that, as we all should be. And the last thing was that the airport had an authority board, and that's been dissolved, and they now have an airport board of advisors. And Christopher Germain has just been appointed to that board. If you remember, he's on the LSCP board. So I just wanted to announce that. This is going to be, it's more of an advisory board now, not standalone. It will report back to the county commission on anything that happens on the airport property. Let's see what else. Materials management is tomorrow in Escanaba, so I will update you on that the next meeting. The solid waste meeting just now, recycling is running 2 to 13%, as Rob kind of alluded to, in the county. They have said that they need product because the income is just not making it. They're having to take money from the general fund to subsidize recycling. So with that, if you remember, they sent a letter a while back saying that they wanted to do an increase through some kind of a millage or assessment. So Sands Township, Pagani Township, and I have fought them on this and said, no, we have recycling that we can capture in this county, and that's what we need to try to do first before we start raising any kind of fees. And so I mentioned that again to them tonight and said they were actually going to put an ad in the paper saying that they wanted to do this, your Urban Cooperation Act, and put in a millage or an assessment. And I said, please do not vote for that tonight. So they didn't. I mean, not just because of what I said, but Gary spoke also, and so did Darlene. I'm trying to encourage them to try to get more recycling. 12, 13% is not much, you know, in a whole county of 60-some thousand. I pointed out to them that even at the gas station today, there was tons of plastic in the trash. They're not recycling, you know. Perkins Park isn't, there's nothing, no blue containers there anyway, that's picked up. I don't know what Tourist Park does, what they do. I emailed Scott Cambenzi to ask him. And they also mentioned they wanted to raise these fees so that they could put these satellite places like on the West End. And I said, okay, so how does that happen? Now you've got to buy property, you have to build a building or gate it in, and you've got utilities, and you've got to hire somebody, and where does this money come from? So with that in mind, when they said they were going to do that, I left a message with Scandia Township and Powell Township, because they both have transfer stations, and I wanted to find out what kind of cost that would be. And it's a shame, their staff should be doing this, but they're not thinking about this stuff. They're just saying, okay, we need product, so let's raise fees. Next will be tipping fees again. So I'm sticking on them with that, driving the manager and the clerk crazy because they're sick of this and it's trash. But it's gonna cost us. We have to do what we can to keep those costs down. So that's what I've been working on last few days. Anything you're hearing from the community? Anybody calling you or stopping you in the store? No? Buy it? That's good. Okay. Let's consider building and grounds tractor as surplus. You're on the mic again, Lenny.
Yep. So as you all know, that we had recently purchased a new tractor a couple months ago, an LS tractor with the appropriate attachments to replace our John Deere tractor. So we got a sweeper and a snow blower. This new tractor, we also received a loader attachment for it too. So our John Deere includes a sweeper, snow blower, and a mowing deck. We don't have the loader attachment on it, but we don't need it anymore. So after researching comparable tractors with similar hours and features in the Midwest, we proposed listing the tractor as surplus and opening bids at $10,000. So I couldn't find anything that was a one-on-one or apples-to-apples comparison, so I kind of got as close as I could for the year and the features that we had here, and I did some research, like I said, just around the Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Ohio, and that's kind of, they go, there's a wide variety of range where they go for, but I feel this would be a good starting point for that tractor.
Okay. Is that out in the lot? Parking lot?
That's the one that's out in the lot, yep.
So folks can drive by and check it out. That would be good. Questions? Motions? Over your pleasure?
I'll make the motion that we place the John Deere into the, what's it called, surplus.
Support.
And put it up for bids? Okay, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. And I'll consider declaring the 2005 Chevy Silverado 3500 dump truck and box plow as surplus in place of bids.
So this one will be dependent on the next motion if you all approve that one. But this one is for the red dump truck that we have. It's a 2005 Silverado. It has a boss plow on it. It only has 44,348 miles on it. So when I went through and I did the research on this, you put everything in there. The only thing that they don't have on those on the Blue Book values and the other values is they don't have the upper peninsula button to push on that. If we were to push that one on there, we would get all the undercarriage rust and everything that's on that truck. So the truck does remain, it does run, it does do the back or the dump part of it works, the boss plow works, but the undercarriage is extremely rusty. So for this reason, we propose putting it up for a starting bid of $3,500.
Okay. Board?
I move that we declare the 2005 Chevy 3500 dump truck with boss plow as surplus and place it up for bids.
Second.
Okay. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And consider the purchase of a 2024 Chevy 3500 Heavy duty, I'm sure that is, dump truck with boss plow.
So this truck will be a replacement for the one that we're just going to put up for surplus. This is pretty much the same type of truck. This one is a little bit more heavy duty and also has a diesel engine in it. It comes with the boss plow. We had a public works truck actually in the CIP, and last year we had a building and grounds truck, but we actually got the tractor in place of that. But this one here we propose, because the water and sewer departments do use that dump truck on actually quite often for digs and stuff like that. We propose a three-way split on this truck. So this would be a three-way split between water, sewer, and the general fund.
I'll make the motion to purchase the new Chevrolet pickup with the plow.
Support.
For 81,555.44.
Yep.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I think you're good, Lenny.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Okay, consider revised purchase agreement from Renovari Marquette Homes, LLC.
This document has not been reviewed yet, but I would make the recommendation that you approve it subject to legal concurrence. It goes back to the original format, but it's more applicable to what's in existence today. Single owner. The tenants in common option, as you may recall, is not going to work with the MISTA funding. Has to be a single owner. It's too bad Mitch isn't on. I don't necessarily want to speak for him, but he and I did talk. He will be a 51% owner in this company.
I'll move to approve the revised purchase agreement as presented with legal review.
I'll support that.
Okay. Where are we? Wasn't yesterday the 10 days after the closing date?
It was, but the signed purchase agreement didn't work.
Right.
So we have to start over with the purchase
Still-
agreement.
Okay,
It's-
that's what I needed.
It's a combination of the one that was most recently signed, at least on our end, and the original. The original had the single owner, and I believe it's actually a new ownership name, Renovari Marquette Homes LLC. So that's the combination of Renovari and Wildflower.
So-
That Mitch will be 51% owner of.
Do we have to, Roger alluded to the, like, operating agreement, or whatever it's called, that they also sent, that was another 23 pages to read. Do you have to approve that, or that's their agreement?
That's their agreement, but it directly affects and impacts the project
It does specifically,
that's
yeah.
moving forward. So I'm in the process of reviewing both of those, and it was, as I mentioned, it's a few more pages than I was anticipating, plus I was out of town on some other matters last week. I anticipate that I'll have that done, I'll be through that this week, but it's a stack.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the main thing is though is the project's moving forward, so.
Is that something we would need a special
I was
meeting
just
for?
gonna ask, yeah.
Well, if you pass the motion, I don't think there's a need for another meeting unless we hear from the attorney that the document is substantially unacceptable. And I think since this is version 3, it's probably going to be one of the closest versions to final draft in the form that we received it. This is my guess. So it really depends on if you accept this motion. And then the closing primarily happens virtually, and Roger can probably explain how a lot of that happens. Some of those documents have been submitted and also have to be revised, such as the closing cost being $500,000 when it's actually $495,000 because they've already paid $5,000 for the first extension. So, minor revisions like that on the final documents still have to be ironed out. And I also believe this purchase agreement needs to have a spot for Mitch to sign since he's a 51% owner.
That was my next question.
And he had mentioned that when I talked to him earlier today.
Yeah, those are the two things I was curious about, was his inclusion. Because he isn't mentioned in here at all, although the name changed to Marquette Homes, which goes back to his agreement. Okay, that's all I wasn't sure on.
And there is another agreement that's still being produced, and that's the PUD agreement. And some of that PUD agreement will reiterate things that I would guess are probably in this operating agreement. That's my assumption.
That's an accurate assumption. And then the closing itself, ever since COVID in particular, closings, real estate closings have become mostly virtual. It won't be necessary for the parties to show up and at the title agency to sign the documents, because those will be distributed in advance once the documents are all approved, keeping in mind we haven't received yet a title commitment either for title insurance, and that should be a fairly routine component of the closing. But those documents all get circulated among the parties, and it's a downstate title agency who's familiar with MISHDA funding housing projects, to my understanding, but we will not need to send a representative there to appear in person for that. That will all be done virtually.
And we don't need to worry about any of the tax implications because of the TIF. They won't get a tax bill or anything for the remainder of this year if this goes. It just all rolls into that package, I'm guessing.
That will depend on documents we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
But that would be my understanding. There's no tax implication right now because Marquette Township is tax exempt as a municipal entity. Renovari will not be tax exempt, but because of the tax incremental financing plan, that's a unique arrangement, and it was my general understanding that the purchase and the taxation would be rolled into the TIF plan.
And it's mentioned in here too.
As long as they've talked about the TIF, the purchase was going to be rolled into the TIF. So they're starting with a $0 tax revenue. The moment they purchase it, it's now a $500,000 property. So that increase in taxes goes to pay back the TIF in year one. And the longer we go, of course, the less of the year that it'll be prorated, but there would be a minor increase in taxes for 2025. That's on the December tax bill.
Any other questions? Clear as mud? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have a resolution. We'll need a roll call for that. This is on the 2025 capital improvement funds. You want to explain that one, John?
Yeah. It was not that long ago when you adopted the resolution, notice of intent resolution to issue bonds. The first round, of course, being the portion necessary to purchase 16% of the city's water treatment plant and related appurtenances, including 2 different routes that plant sends water to Lincoln Pump House in the city. It includes Lincoln Pump House, and then 2 routes from Lincoln Pump House to the township system. So we have a primary and a redundant feed, and of course that value is approximately $2.5 million, which I believe is significantly less than the cost of phase 2 well development at this point, because that was about the same price 10 years ago. I can't remember, I was 3 jobs before.
It was around $4 million at the time.
Okay, so $1.5 million less than that number was a decade ago. And it pretty much guarantees at least our needs for the next 20 years. And the plant also has room to expand within its current footprint. Plus, I believe Clerk Katari would confirm it's running well below its current operational capacity. So it's the most affordable solution to our water needs at a time when it's, I think, politically expedient.
I'll make the motion that we have the resolution for the bond authorization.
Support.
Okay, questions up to them? Does it make sense? Okay. Go ahead, Randy, please.
Okay, trustee Kidda,
Yes.
trustee Everson,
Yes.
trustee Leighton,
Yes.
treasurer Rickower,
Yes.
clerk Rattari is yes, and supervisor Durant.
Yes.
Motion carries, 6 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent. I'm gonna email that to me and I'll finish it up. Okay.
Let me know when they'll come in and sign. Consider budget work sessions. Manager, Director Gerard. Yeah, I'm okay. Randy must be thinking about it.
I'll let him take this year's. That's fine. There's some interesting challenges that we're sorting through. You may recall we refinanced our mortgages through an earlier bond sale this year, right? That was a direct placement refunding bond through Incredible Bank. That took 2 prior mortgages for 3 buildings and lumped them into one. Well, I don't know if you realize this, but that impacts 4 budgets, and we have to figure out how to show principal and interest payments for 4 budgets that get paid out of 1 budget, because we're not going to send 4 payments for each annual payment that we have on the bonds. So I spent a good portion of today just trying to figure out what percentage of each annual payment should be allocated to the general fund for Township Hall, plus a portion of DPW now that Building and Grounds is reassigned to that facility. The Fire Hall, which is a separate fund, water and wastewater, which are 2 additional separate funds. I think I got it. Kim hasn't really said, yeah, it looks good yet, and I'm not gonna say I'm confident until she says that, but the numbers all matched up in the end, and that's actually a really good start for me with, I don't know, 5 different pages in a spreadsheet, so.
Yeah.
Your eyes look almost as glazed over as mine feel.
Sounds like fun.
I'm done talking about it though, if that helps. Once we figure that out, I think the budget's gonna be able to be wrapped up fairly quickly. Then it's just a matter of getting it in a presentable form, which unfortunately still takes a little bit of time because you can't just export it into a format that looks like something that you would understand. Cost centers being labeled, that kind of thing. Kim has to actually manually do that after the spreadsheet's exported, so that'll take a little bit of time. But I think if we shoot for, what did I say, middle of October?
Yeah. 12.
That would keep us on track for first meeting in December, final approval of the budget.
So we want us to look at calendars for between October 13th and 31st and pick some dates?
Unless you want to do that between now and the first meeting in October, however you prefer. I just know that the way schedules go, the longer you wait to get them in there, the less room you have. So it makes sense to me to get it onto the calendars sooner than later.
Do you have calendars with you? We can look. Do you think 2 1-hours or 2 hour-and-a-halves, or?
I'd love it if it was 2 one-hour meetings. And I think we could do it, but I can't guarantee you won't have questions. Honestly, I think there's going to be areas in the budget that are more transparent this year than they've ever been. Kim and I are working a little closer together on some of this stuff because it doesn't make sense that you take 3 separate tax revenues, lump them into one line item in the budget. We're gonna have 3 separate line items, but we're making sure that each line item is in the right fund. Perfect example, road millage. We've been lumping that in with operating millage and law enforcement millage into one line. Last year, we separated the road millage out, but not law enforcement. This year, we're separating law enforcement out so that we can do a direct correlation between what we're collecting in millage and what we're paying for our contract. So you can see for yourself without having to wait for me to explain it to you at a work session. But the road millage, we're thinking we're gonna put it right into township improvements as a revenue instead of general fund then a transfer.
Yeah.
That's actually 3 journal entries instead of 1. So little things like that that are going to even make the budget more transparent, more streamlined, Kim's daily job more efficient, hopefully, so.
Okay, okay, we have board meeting on the 15th of October, so,
About 3:30 that day. Gives us 2 hours before this meeting to go after some of it.
does that work for you guys to come in earlier and just stay longer?
Works for me.
Works for me.
We can actually,
It does not work for me.
No.
State of Michigan is here that day to talk about elective pay, which is the process we went through
okay,
to get our rebate on the solar project. And it starts with them talking to us about our project. They're doing some recordings to sort of sell this to other agencies down the road. And then they're doing an informational session here immediately after that. So I apologize, that day does not work.
No, that's important. Are there days that don't work? Like Fridays or Tuesdays or whatever? How's your work schedule, Randy? Yours is so volatile
I'm after 3
that week.
that week.
I'm
Okay.
on the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Gone?
For a MERS conference.
Okay, so the next week, maybe the 20th, does that work better?
After 3, that's good.
That week's not good for me.
Not at all?
Maybe Wednesday.
22nd.
I could just surprise you with a budget at the first meeting in December.
Well, the 22nd, there's a planning commission meeting, but that's not till 7, so we could meet at 5:30 on that Wednesday.
Marquette County Township, we're gonna talk trash again.
No,
We're bringing the whole group in.
That's for me,
Wednesday was your only day.
Wednesday's the only day that week.
Why are you thinking through the 31st? Is that, you said the 13th through the 31st to look for those?
Well, it'd be nice to
wrap it up
get
early.
through the budget before the end of October so we can polish it up and make it look presentable
Sure, we have to
in November to have it ready for approval. I mean, there's some other documents that have to be prepared too, leading up to that first meeting in December.
Well, and if the planning commission is gonna look at the CIP, I forget what he said in October. How about the last week of October? I don't have anything. That's unusual. How does that look?
Monday after 3, and then the 28th and 29th before 3.
Yeah.
How does that-
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are mostly open.
Any certain time?
Monday morning's not good, but the rest are fairly good.
So Tuesday or Wednesday before 3 would work for you for a couple hours? Carl, how's your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, either one, either Monday after 3, like Randy said, or the other days before 3.
How does that cut into your month end?
That should be good.
Is that, do you have a preference on?
No.
Okay, I don't either. John? Does it matter?
Mondays aren't good.
No, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Our schedules are real.
Yeah, I think
a Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't even ask you guys, and that's shame on me. It's not
So
like he's
easy.
doing, I'm just thinking of the ones that work, you know.
How about Tuesday and Wednesday at 1 or 12:30? Gives you guys a chance to get lunch, and then
1 o'clock,
1 o'clock both days.
yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday, and get it done.
Just get it
Wouldn't that be
done.
something? Oh my gosh,
What are those dates?
one year we spent 14 hours on the budget. I added it all up. It was ridiculous. Meeting.
So it'd be
Well, there
the
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
we
was a
won't go
lot
there.
going on. Okay, Tuesday
Tuesday the 28th and Wednesday the 29th
at 1 o'clock.
at 1 o'clock. The first day will be general fund and probably public works. Right, well, general fund, which is fire, clerk, treasury. And then public works can maybe start that and then finish it up Wednesday.
And then Wednesday, the 29th at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And I can be here till 2:30 both days, so gives us an hour and a half.
That should be pretty good. Okay, motion?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion, we schedule budget work sessions for 10, 29, 28, and 10:29 at 1 PM.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, good, that's done. Great, consider Michigan Townships Association a legislative platform. I don't know if you guys read this, but there's some good stuff in there, protecting townships. I was really impressed on how they really came around. There was a time when this whole tax tribunal thing started, that a couple of us were down at MTA meetings trying to convince MTA that they needed to support the townships and fight the tribunal problems that were happening. And they were not having it. They were so afraid of the legislature, basically the best way to describe it. And they said that wasn't just telling me. They said, no, we can't do this. So now they have really come around and embraced the township philosophy of local control and everything. And they're adamant about it, which is just fabulous. I didn't see anything in there that I disagreed with. I don't know if you saw anything you thought you should add, but I thought it was pretty comprehensive. So they'd like either comments or suggestions or a letter of approval. So whatever you guys think.
Yeah, I looked at my part of it. I'm fine with the elections part of it.
Yeah, because they want the state to pay for your equipment and your maintenance. And
They should.
That's great, yeah. Letter of approval?
Yeah, I'll move to accept, to have a supervisor write a letter of support for the 25-26 MTA legislative platform.
Support.
Okay. Nothing else that you thought, good or bad? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, Housing Now, you can see that we've been approached, as, with everybody else in the county, for support. As I explained, we have contributed to them when they were working on the total market analysis, which was done already for housing. We gave them a few $1,000s, which allowed me to be on that committee as a supporter, contributor. So this is, I told Christopher, I said, I'll put it on the agenda and see what the board thinks. And I don't know because we have to be careful what kind of money we spend, or what we spend it on, I should say. It's very specific on, we have to get a benefit. So I typed it up knowing Roger was out of town, and I thought, well, we can look at it and decide if this is something we, first of all, could contribute to, and secondly, if the board wanted to, and thirdly, would you, is it something you wanted to do? They've given some levels here that you can pick from, if that works. Personally, I would like to see that the money would go to the specialist, because I think he's vital in this whole, he's the apex of this whole group as far as how it moves forward, his knowledge and his cooperation, but I don't know about that, so. Am I kind of putting you on the spot, Roger, by asking you if we can?
Yeah, I have not looked at that. The first I basically saw was when I reviewed the board packet
Okay.
on that. And that shouldn't be an in-depth issue, but I want to get a little more information of exactly what it entailed. I did review the request that was at the end of the packet, but I think I need a little bit more information to look into that further.
Is this something you think would be a good idea or not, or, I mean, if you don't want to do it, then there's no point in Roger looking at it. So I want to get a consensus here, or at least a motion or something to decide, so I know what to tell Christopher. We're having a quarterly meeting, I think it's next week, or 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
How many members are on this board?
It's made up of, oh gosh, we were in the library, and the tables went around. It's, just a couple municipalities, manpower, 2 or 3 builders, some banking institutions. It's very diverse. They pulled from all over the county. It isn't just like a municipal group or anything. The original, excuse me, for the total market analysis, that was municipalities and then the brownfield development, the land bank, and the LSCP. But this is everybody in the county. There's got to be 20, probably.
I would make the motion that we would have Roger check into it, that we would at least be maybe available to enter at the lowest level. That's the 2,500.
Well, just, I guess Carl, just, if you could remake your motion, just to put it on the next agenda, and then Carl would have time to, or Roger would have time to look at it by then.
Sure, yeah.
And also-
Have a look into it would be great.
I'll support that.
Okay.
For the October 1st meeting. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we need to look at that 4029 correction that I was telling you about.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion to approve the revised L429 for Marquette Township. The only change being is that the library millage is reduced down to .8817 instead of .8818, so.
Second.
Questions on that?
The only reason for the change is rules on how you round the number.
And we've already gotten that document too, or I did, to say why it was okay. We don't need a roll call on this.
Yes, we do.
We do? Okay.
We do. Clerk Rattari is yes. Trustee Leighton.
Yes.
Trustee Kidda.
Yes.
Trustee Everson.
Yes.
Treasurer Rickauer.
Yes.
And Supervisor Duran.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0 and 1 absent. I'll get this to Michelle tomorrow and get it sent off back to the county.
Okay. Committee updates. Did we have a rec committee meeting?
No.
No, we did not.
2 of their members had conflicts out of town.
Okay. Any public comment? Yeah, it's warm in here, isn't it? Thought it was me. No public comment? Okay. Any announcements, board?
The only thing at a county clerk's meeting last week, Marquette area public schools might be putting a ballot proposal together for next May. Nothing this year, next May.
Oh, I county clerk said there would be.
There is selections this fall, but it's not for us. It's for the west of us. I think Gwynn or some other schools are trying to get a millage passed still, but nothing for us. Next year it would be in May, and if that does happen, I budgeted for 2 elections. That one would be a budget amendment. We would be reimbursed for the whole thing. So it's a zero cost for us. We'd front the money and they'd pay us back. So it's a zero cost. So that's,
I just have another question on this, kind of the same matter with voting. Will the voting box be out there all winter?
it will be. It will be.
We all know it's gonna get hit.
I hope not.
Is there a way to take it down and put it up, when we need it?
No, because all election materials are going in there. And starting of next year is the midterm. So everything, so they can put applications in there, what have you. So when we get going next year, Building and Grounds put it there so they know where it is. So we'll see how it goes. It's a pretty,
Colorful.
it's a pretty sturdy piece of metal, so
It is stainless too, so.
It's not gonna
hopefully it'll
rust.
Hold up to corrosion.
and the reason it's there is because,
Vehicles,
yeah.
snowplows.
We'll
I'm sorry.
we'll find out how
Yeah.
it goes. But the reason it is where it is people can actually just drive up to it and
Drop it in.
and not even get out of their car, so.
Okay.
So that's all I have, nothing else on elections, just moving forward.
Any other announcements? Okay, Mr. Manager, anything to share?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Any
It's
questions
budget
for
season.
John? Anything rattling your cage?
I had the review of the motions then.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first motion was to approve the consent agenda as presented. That was approved. The second motion was to approve the regular agenda as amended. That was approved. Third motion was to declare the Building and Grounds tractor surplus. That was approved. The fourth motion was to approve the 2005 Chevy Silverado dump truck as surplus. That was approved. The fifth motion was to approve a purchase of a 2024 Chevy 3500 dump truck with the plow, and that was approved. The sixth motion was to approve the revised purchase agreement for Renovari Marquette Homes LLC pending legal approval. That was approved. Seventh motion was to approve the 2025 capital improvement bonds resolution, and that was approved by roll call vote. The seventh motion, or the eighth motion, was to approve the budget work session, so 10:28 and 10:29 at 1 p.m. That was approved. I'll post those tomorrow or the next day. The ninth motion was to approve the MTA legislative platform for 25-26. That was approved. And 10th motion was to put the request of the Marquette County Housing Now on the next agenda. That was approved. And the 11th motion was to approve the L429 form, the revised one, and that was approved by roll call vote.
Lots of good business. So we know housing now will be on the next agenda, assuming Roger can manage that. Board member comments? Anything to share?
TM put on a really nice video on our new trailhead thing.
I heard they did.
It's
See,
really,
it's out. You've
it's
seen
really
it?
nice. Talks about the whole project from start to end.
Maybe we should put that on the next agenda, just as a presentation.
Yeah.
How long is it? Is it a very long
It's not
part?
that long.
No, 5
Maybe,
minutes.
yeah.
We could do that.
Okay. What else? Anything else?
I did one other thing, so I work all over the county, so what about the townships that are not part of the recycling? And when we originally got, everybody ended up with a blue bin in front of their house. Is there a cost, I would assume, for that, and the township takes on that cost?
That was grants.
Grants?
County Township, and we got them at the same time pretty much. So they
I
were paid
believe
for.
those programs still exist.
And I think the next one for release is like next October. And that's why I want to check with the materials management group tomorrow. Because remember I said we get 70 or 80,000 from the state for the county to do something with, but I don't know what we're restricted to use the funds for. So if it just means buying carts, I talked to Ken at North Country, because I knew that he had at least one pickup on the west end. I didn't know where. And I said, can you do more, or can other haulers come out, or what do they do? And he said, he's got 4 contracts out there. So, and I didn't ask him, or maybe I did ask him, Humboldt, I forget now. He did tell me 4 of them. Ely? Okay. So I said, all right, then, assuming it's you, how much harder would it be to, you know, pick up a couple more? And he said, it's not hard at all, just, you know, go talk to him. So I mentioned this to Gary Wilmer, the County Township Supervisor, and he did some research and found out that a lot of the folks up there, Jim Belpedio is one of the trustees in Champion, and he's been going to all these meetings too. And a lot of them burn their stuff out there, so they're burning cardboard. Cardboard's the #1 revenue source for them, and plastic is right behind that. That's why I keep talking about the water bottles and milk jugs. So he said trying to convince them of something different in the really small communities might be difficult, but my push is not so much even them as the commercial side, because they're clearly not. I mean, some of them are, I'm not saying they all aren't, but there's a lot right here that we can focus on. Again, I wanted to find out about Scandia and Powell Townships and how they're doing it. If it's a cost savings for, you know, waste management or somebody to go up there, or GAD, it doesn't matter who. Maybe that's better than having a manned. Powell does theirs 2 days a week for 3 or 4 hours at a time. They do glass and everything. But I don't know what, Scandia's got to drop off they do glass, they do everything too. So, you know, I'm just trying to figure out how this works the best to get what we need, and if it's product. So to kind of answer your question, carts is the first thing, getting those blue carts, and then trying to figure out the hauler, how do they get there? And solid waste thought process, like I said, was have these 5 stations across the county, and then you've got to get trucks to them anyway. So if people already have recycling, like in the township, why would I pay an assessment or an extra fee? You know, so they didn't think of the machinations of this at all. They didn't research it enough. And I sent them a list of 14 of these types of points and said, all right, what if this happens? How do you do this? How do you do that? What does this cost? And what, you know, give me some financials. What's the expense gonna be for all of this? And nothing, you know, so I'm just pressing it before they,
Frustrating for you.
we're holding them to task to say, if you're gonna raise fees, like we do, you know, if we're gonna raise anything, we talk about it, we tell people, we email them, we send out flyers, whatever, if we have a millage or something. You have to tell people what you're spending their money on. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
A little bit. Okay, October 1st we'll be back. Right?
Right.
Assuming we leave tonight. Andrew, what have you got to say?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Very good. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned,
Thank you.
6:39.